Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network. I'm your host, Nico, and joining me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing?
Not too bad. How are you?
Good. I wasn't sure if we're going to go with the Kirk Connors joke again. Like,
Or 5 or 6 more weeks to go with it.
it'll be one of those things that a few weeks from now, your arm will reemerge out of the sling, and it'll be like it grew back on like the lizard. Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about Chris's injury jokes there at the top of the show again. We'll get past it this week. We technically recorded 2 this week because of us putting out the last one so late. So anyways, welcome back. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Late Night Chat Network. You can watch our previous episodes, any of our past ones in the playlist here. 140 episodes there. Yeah, we're going strong. We're going to be hitting 150 by the end of this year. That's really exciting. So that's really cool. If you checked out the show originally on the Late Night Collectors Community YouTube channel, which was basically like a spin-off channel there that we did, like basically an extension of the Late Night Chat Network, we decided to end that YouTube channel. So by the end of this month of August, that will be gone. But we've already imported all videos from the Late Night Collectors Community over to the Late Night Chat Network. So if you watch the show over there, make sure to follow us here on Late Night Chat Network, where you can find all of our previous episodes and everything here posted for you. And you can find us week to week. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Late Night Chat Network. Likewise, if you are following us at Late Night Collectors Community, we have the Late Night Chat Network Instagram. And, there was a couple weeks there where we were kind of moving things around. I wasn't posting the usual videos that we do where we show kind of what we've picked up week to week. I know some weeks we picked up our stuff late there. So it's my fault. I kind of dropped the ball in that regard, but go back on there and you can probably see videos of us, in the coming weeks of us posting what we've picked up week to week. We get to show off some of the covers of the books we're going to be talking about prior to on there, and that'll be on the Late Night Chat Network Instagram account. This week, we're talking about the new comics that came out for the week of August 7th, 2024, and spoiler warning. Be forewarned, we are going to be talking about what happens in the books here today and showing off some of the art. So if you're worried about getting spoiled, you can always read your books and come back and check us out. All right, Chris.
All right. Let's talk comics. Do this with dry, though. Cheers. Water. What the heck? It's warm, too. Jeez.
All right. First up on the docket here today, we got Absolute Power #2 here. What'd you think of this, Chris?
I think this is a big event. Big things are happening. So I think I love the art in here. The storyline's moving along, and I think there's some twists and turns still ready to come. I think they teased, I don't know, at the end there, maybe not a turn of, what's his name, of Oliver Queen, but maybe he's not so bad as he points, or we're trying to work from within. But, before that, although I think most of the heroes are all in the Fortress of Solitude. And basically, they're just, I guess, regrouping and trying to figure out what to do. I thought this was just another good event comic for sure. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I know at first I was like, I wasn't in the right mood. I feel like when I read the first issue, I was a little down on it. You had talked about how good it was, and then went back and reread it before the next tie-in issues had come out for this event. And while I'm not reading any of the tie-ins, I honestly don't feel lost at all. I don't even know how necessary they are. The only tie-ins I'm reading are the ones that are basically as part of the books I'm already reading. And yeah, like you said, you got 10 more on art. Mark Waid, the same team that did Batman Superman, which we're already a fan of. This scene was great when, I know he's not your favorite character, but when Nightwing actually kind of brought everybody together, that Batman's just like, that a boy, like, you know what I mean? He's like, it's not well, because like it was a really good scene, I thought, in this issue where all the heroes are arguing about who should take charge. And they're like, we should have never disbanded the Justice League. Look at us. We can't even run a team now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it was actually a good observation on their part for him to put that in there. Like, what the hell are we doing here? There's no Justice League. Like, what is this anymore? Right. So I really liked how Mark Waid made reference to that. And then, of course, Dick, who's the guy who's been running the team here, that's supposed to be like the Justice League, but is anything but the Teen Titans. He's the one that kind of had to step up and actually, like, bring them all together and tell them what to do. And they all kind of went their separate ways in this scene. So I thought that was actually a really good scene to open up the issue. Makes sense that the Fortress of Solitude is like their spot that they have to lay low in. Honestly, just great stuff all around. And like, and then you get a fight from the Mazos
Oh yeah, and Superman or
John.
John Kent showing up. And you think he's saved or not saved. You never know if he's turning the corner or beating the programming. And that was kind of kept you on the edge of the seat there a little bit.
Yeah, and it's a well-paced event so far. Some good stuff happening. This hero here had to sacrifice herself, it seems like, in this moment to try to make a difference, but unfortunately it didn't stick. And John looks to still be under the power of Amanda Waller. And like you alluded to at the end there with Green Arrow, he might be working from the inside. I don't know, but Amanda Waller talked about how he's the only one that knows what half of the items are that they stole from the Justice League archives, essentially. And I believe it's Minuteman stuff that he finds there, that powder there, which I think is what helps him get.
I heard some time travel stuff.
Okay, maybe that's it. Yeah. I think that's what that character is. I can't recall, but anyways, yes, he's got a hold of something pretty good there from what we got out of this issue. So I'm looking forward to what happens next. Yeah, good issue. I agree. It's been a fun event, and it's only 4 issues. And honestly, I don't know if you even have to read any of the tie-ins for this one. I think it's pretty good on its own so far. So what'd you give this?
Give us a big 4. Easy 4.
4 out of 5. Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we got Batman 151, which is it is an Absolute Power tie-in. Zdarsky is doing the main story in here, and then we got a backup of Harley Quinn by I think it's Teenie Howard, who has been writing the ongoing Harley series here with the backup. But anyways, what'd you think of the main story here, Chris?
Yeah, I thought the main story is okay. Who's doing the art? Was this Mike Hawthorne guy?
Yeah, who did the arc that we weren't really that big of a fan of, where Batman went back into that other dimension. Remember the one where he lost his hand?
Yeah, but I think he got a better story to kind of sink his teeth into. So, you're not really focusing on the art so much. Like, I didn't find the art distracting or anything.
No.
The way he draws that Bizarro Superman, I thought that was, it's decent. It's good stuff. I still would have preferred to have Jorge Jimenez on this, but
sure.
I guess we've got to take a break and catch up.
Yeah.
And it's just good stuff, especially with Batman and Catwoman sort of getting back on the same page. And, who shows up there? Oh, no, I'm thinking of something else. Sorry, the army there. But yeah, they're trying to get a hold of the mother box, and I guess a bunch of things come up in their path. So they got a lot of work. They got their work cut out for them, let's say.
Yeah, and I really liked how they were trying to, like you said, I like when they go, Batman goes undercover as somebody else, and him and Catwoman basically infiltrate this army base here to try to find the mother box there. And I enjoyed how they came across Deadshot and Clock King and all these, like the Bizarro Superman there, all these characters working for.
Oh yeah, even in the background when they're walking around, they see some of the Suicide Squad guys walking around.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing too with that stupid Bizarro guy, you got to read his captions like freaking 3 times to figure out what he's trying to mean, or when Batman's trying to trick him or something with,
right,
me bad, you good, or I don't know what the heck I don't know. I just knew he's trying to trick him. He would have fooled me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed, just the idea of the whole behind enemy lines infiltrating the base type of mission story. Yeah. Like for a tie-in, I thought Zdarsky kind of went with a good angle where it's like, yeah, this is happening during the event, but it doesn't have to really follow up on the what's happening in the other book as a result of him just running this little mission to the side. So I thought that was well done on his part. I had some fun with this one. It wasn't bad. And yeah, Mike Hawthorne's art, I agree, was well suited for this story. What'd you give this out of 5?
I got a 3.75.
Same. Yeah, not a bad issue. All right, next up, Venom War #1, which I just jumped in on to talk with Chris about because I have not been following the events of Venom and this whole run. I know Chris has been reading it. What do you think of this, Chris?
Well, I've been buying Venom, and I didn't buy this Venom War. It seems to be like a big event, and I might be regretting it. It didn't start out too strong though, with all this wrestling baloney stuff. And
I like that.
Not after seeing Daniel Warren Johnson do his wrestling stuff.
This was, yeah, you're right. This wasn't that. It wasn't as good as that, but I did like the effort of some of them came off cheesy, the lines, but the brawl for it all. Oh, here's the lizard
Yeah,
wizard.
but this is like I was under the impression that was supposed to be like a real federation, but it's still like a fake federation. But I did like the wrestlers that they had in the back there. I think like the commentators was Crusher.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's the wrestler that Spider-Man beat when he first I guess got his powers. And he's making a lot of quick comments there. You know, it's like, oh, it's just some kid. He goes, yeah, fucking kid beat me a
Yeah,
while
yeah.
ago.
This isn't
About
kayfabe, folks. Here, look who's coming out.
Yeah.
I just like some of that
But
stuff.
once I got through the beginning of this, this thing just kept on hitting note after note after note. The hits kept on getting better and better. You know, I really the stuff with Venom, like the Venom suit and Peter Parker coming together, like, you know, when he's just kind of putting on his clothes and, you know, the head pops up, he's like, "Oh, easy, Peter, relax." And, you know, and they kind of, you know, it's not the Venom of old where, you know, last time I saw Venom and Spider-Man or Peter Parker getting together, they always wanted to freaking just eat each other's heads. But there, you know, he's kind of just talking, you know, they're kind of talking as old pals, let's say.
Yeah.
And Venom's asking him for help, and I guess Spider-Man, he's ready to help out. And like you say, if you didn't read this, I read all this stuff and I still have no idea what happened. I don't know where the old man Dylan came from and all this other, you know, that Team Venom. How come there's nobody inside the suits? It doesn't matter. I like seeing that Meridius guy show up as you know, last I saw him, he was like transported to like the Savage Land. So I guess he's been alive for whatever millennia now just to get to this point again. So, but I'm down for this event, and I'll probably be reading it most of it. You know, I think I'm still buying the Venoms, and I did get the Venom War Spider-Man.
I like I mentioned, I haven't been reading the main ongoing series, but yeah, like Chris said there, I jumped in this just to check it out because it is a big Venom event. It seemed like it might be fun. And I really had a lot of fun with this. I thought it was a ton of fun. Like you said, they do reference a lot of past stuff, which you didn't have to have read any of the ongoing Venom series. When it does come to the stuff with his son, Dylan, and like some of the ongoing like storylines from the actual main series, I'm not going to say I understood everything, but you kind of just go with it. Like it's not like like the fact that he called himself a virus Venom in this and how he felt about like the actual you know, the history between him and Eddie and everything else and all the stuff that he's done and the fact that he enlists Spider-Man to help out with this war. Yeah, I can get on board with all that. Like all that stuff that tracks and it made sense to me. And a lot of the other Venoms and people that he's been a host of as previous to this that he mentioned, I know about a lot of that kind of stuff. You know, and Flash Thompson, all that kind of stuff. So like I wouldn't say I was lost at all. Actually, there were some things I didn't obviously know about because of the but from Chris talking about it on the show, it certainly has helped as well fill in some of the blanks for me. I had a ton of fun with this. Between that and the wrestling stuff, I thought this was a great issue. Yeah, I agree. I'm definitely gonna read the rest of this. And like with Spider-Man showing up in the suit at the end there into
Yeah,
this whole
Spider-Man
wrestling,
back in the symbiote suit. Oh, you can't go wrong with
can't
that.
go wrong. No, I was ready to come on here and be like, what the hell is this? And I was like, actually, this was quite fun. I enjoyed it. It's funny just because we're opening up the show talking about these events. And already I feel like we've talked about a couple of good event books that are happening right now, at least now, right? Like
Yeah,
it's these were good issues. So what'd you give this?
I give this 4.25. I had really low expectations for this.
I might have to give it the same without any prior knowledge of this, of the things
Yeah,
that go into this.
I had to read like 30 issues to freaking what was explained in 4 panels, and there were even little ones.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the one you choose not to buy. This is crazy. I don't understand.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah, it's very fun, very fun. And then up next, we got Uncanny X-Men #1, the newest from the line of new X-Men books launching this month. From the Ashes, I guess is the new name of the new books here, the umbrella of books that are coming out. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Yeah, I gave it a quick read. I'm not sure if I bought this or not. I'll find out when I pick up. I haven't had a chance to pick up my stack yet. But I thought it was a decent comic. I don't know if they're alluding to some certain things there, but it was basically focused on what's his name, Wolverine, Gambit, and Rogue. And in the beginning here, I guess now we're going through the pictures there. Whoever I forget who's taken over the mansion there. I like when they're walking through just and they're like, just torch the place. We're gonna turn all their bedrooms into jail cells. And I imagine that's Professor X, that's their prisoner, but they don't really I don't think they commented on who their first prisoner was.
I believe it is, though. Yeah, I believe it
Yeah,
is.
but then after that it goes on to the Wolverine and Rogue and Gambit story. And no, it's I know that's a number one book story, but it's still enough to get the job done. They're all great characters, and I like seeing Rogue and Wolverine interact. I don't know if they're alluding to some funny business between all three of them after they finished off fighting that dragon, because he's like, "Oh, I got a bottle, and we got some time," and then they're about to, the line just kind of was dot dot dot. Then they get interrupted at one point, but
Well,
yeah, and then I know where do they go? They got called in by Cyclops or something to make a wish for
yeah.
the Make a Wish story. So
I,
that
you
was
know,
okay stuff.
I was gonna say it wouldn't be the first throuple that Wolverine was a part of, as we know.
No,
He
maybe
was
that's the thing now.
he did have a thing with Emma and Cyclops on and Krakoa. Sorry, Jean and Cyclops. Sorry. I forgot that they were together again during the Krakoa era. Yeah, so there's a three-way thing going on between him, Jean, and Cyclops, whatever that was all about during the Krakoa era that they alluded to. I'll never forget that issue of Hickman's X-Men's where they showed how they do like the insides of buildings sometimes in comics, where they show you
Yeah,
all like the layouts of the mansions and
yeah,
stuff
the
like that.
rooms and all.
There was an adjoining door between Wolverine's room and theirs, which they didn't really like. If you paid attention, you're like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Yeah,
Yeah, and then like you said, there's a lot going on in this first issue. Like, I mean, I would like the focus in issues moving forward to kind of only be on a couple things at once, because I feel like they had about 4 different plot lines in this issue of things happening, like the opening with that organization taking over the mansion, and then whatever was happening with that mutant. I guess they're looking to save some mutants, maybe some. I don't know if that's going to be the point of this series,
yeah,
for them to
yeah. I
like
think they found almost starting a new mutants or something there at the end.
some mutants came across them in the woods there when they're out by the fire, having drinking that bottle there at the end. So I'm with you. The one thing you said that I agree with is there was enough here to keep me going for another issue, but I also am not 100% in yet, but there was enough interesting things happening, and I do like the team so far, and the David Marquez art was really good. So
Yeah.
there's definitely enough to keep me going. I think I have the next 2 issues pre-ordered, so like really depending on what happens with those issues, I'll be able to tell whether I'm 100% in yet. I just really need to know. I need the focus to be more in one direction as opposed to like, I think it's just as the first issue, I think she was trying to show you, hey, this is a few things that are going to be going on in this series. So I hope that like it's just a little bit more focused moving forward, because I do like some of the storylines that are happening in this so far. I just and the characters involved, so for that matter. And this is written by Gail Simone, who I'm not a huge fan of. I've read some things by her I really like, and then there's a lot of things I read from her I didn't like. So it really depends on the material sometimes, or the characters that she's writing, I find. So I'm interested to give it a chance. I do like this one in comparison to like last week's X-Force, which I read the first issue and I'm like, I'm out right away, right?
Yeah.
But this one I'm like, okay, not bad. So what'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.75.
Same. Yep. 3.75 out of 5. All right. Next up, Chris, you got a few here. You read Avengers 17.
Yeah, there's a bit of hype about Storm joining the Avengers, and I've kind of stepped away from the Avengers, so came back to this one here. And this is basically the aftermath of the Blood Hunt. The whole team there is on the Impossible City, and they're just kind of talking about what went down. And a few of them are saying, "Oh, they're happy everything succeeded," and Captain Marvel's like, "I think we failed. So many, thousands and thousands of people were killed. And I think Scarlet Witch is like, oh, but we still saved the world." So there's a bit of kind of a hum and haw about that. And another thing was Sam Wilson. He kind of seeks out Storm, and I guess the big gist of this issue is that he offers Storm to join the X-Men, because the Avengers sort of failed the X-Men during the Orcus crisis, let's say, and he wanted some mutant representation on the team, so something like that would never happen again. And I think they had a new artist on this one too. There's Valerie
Sheety.
something.
It's not shitty. It's sheety. Yeah.
Yeah, Cheeto or something like that.
Sheety.
And this story with Storm here brings freaking Storm back to kind of where I like Storm to be. You know, more of a she's not like some immortal god. You know, kind of what they were doing with her over in Iraq. Oh, there, she was just kind of hanging around, talking normally, and she was drawing great. There was good stuff all around in here, and this could tempt me to get back in there. Oh yeah, and the big crux of this issue is Hyperion shows up, and basically he's on a collision course with Earth, and he says, like, I guess, I think you did lend me those Reborn comics, and he's having some existential crisis. Is either I'm real or the world isn't real, and I'm going to find out. I'm just going to bash myself into it. And if we both survive, then, or if I survive, then I guess I'm real. And if we both die, then nothing was real. So we'll see how they stop that. That looks like a big one.
Yeah, Empyrean too is like a super powerful
Yeah.
guy. Like, yeah, he's basically like the Superman, let's say, of the Marvel universe in that sense, like in terms of his strength levels, and he's a little crazy. So like, yeah, so like, yeah, I didn't read this. I wanted to, I just didn't have a chance in time for us recording the show here today. So I am actually going to check this out. And I like the last couple of issues during the Blood Hunt tie-in, as we know, by Jed McKay of the Avengers, which was my first time back into reading it prior to dropping it. So this might be the case where he turns a corner, hopefully, with this book. And maybe the first year he was just getting his feet wet in terms of like figuring out how to do a team book or something, because I know we both were kind of like, this isn't that great. But if this one was a decent issue and the last couple were really good, maybe he's turning a corner, because that first X-Men issue I thought was really good that he did, right, Jed McKay? So yeah. I guess we'll see. But what'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.75. It's better than I thought it'd be.
Nice. And then we got Daredevil number 12 coming up here.
I'm checking in on Daredevil. Oops, sorry.
So I was going to say, I don't have the art for the next couple here, unfortunately. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was checking in on Daredevil. The cover was Kingpin standing over Daredevil and Elektra in his arms. Like, okay, let's see what's going on. I got some time on my hands. And right when I first opened the page, it was like, no, nothing's changed in this Daredevil book. It's still garbage. The Kingpin it wasn't the Kingpin fighting the devil. The Kingpin is still like he was possessed by the spirit of greed. And, it was like an exorcism fight. I think at one point, Daredevil pulls out his cross and holds it out to the Kingpin or to the demon greed, and I guess he doesn't have enough faith, so it didn't work. And then Daredevil goes on this. He has to basically confesses that he's been trying to live on both sides of the fence, by being a hero and trying to live a good life and all that, and that brings him redemption, and that burns away the god. And I think at the end, basically the Kingpin sort of comes back to his senses, but he kind of pound the crap out of, or the greed demon pounded the crap out of Daredevil. So Daredevil was a little bit worried that, he's not ready for another round with the Kingpin, because Kingpin would have kind of beat him up. But at the end, the Kingpin reaches out to Daredevil and asks for forgiveness. So that's kind of a big deal, but enough of this, and then they tease a page with like that She-Hulk, Wolverine, all the characters that were out there before with their demons behind them being possessed. It's like, get enough of these. Get out of these demons already. Garbage. 3.5.
All right. Yeah. Sounds like this was the opposite of a check-in compared to the Avengers, where you're like, yeah,
it was just more the same. As the reason we left was still there, and it just got worse.
Yeah. Then you got Blood Hunters number 1.
Again, I just checked on this team. It's a few characters that I like. Got Dagger, I think it was White Widow, Hollow's Eve, and Elsa Bloodstone. That's kind of a motley crew there, if you've ever put them together. And basically, this is the aftermath of the Blood Hunt, and they're just kind of roaming the streets and trying to save people. There's still the vampires are still walking around, but they're not sort of bloodthirsty, let's say. And it seems that Dagger has the power to heal the vampires and get rid of their vampirism or whatever. So they come across a group that are, kind of terrorizing this couple. And the first person that Dagger heals, he's kind of like, what the heck did you just do? I didn't give you permission to heal me. And he was upset because he wanted to be a vampire. Elsa Bloodstone, she doesn't really care about saving people. She's trying to blast everybody away, and I think she does blast a few people away. And Hallows Eve there, at least she kind of comes in as a new character and a new face, and they don't play her like, she's some grizzled veteran hero. I think they run into Miles Morales or Spider-Man as Spider-Man, and she's like, what? There's another Spider-Man? So it's all this sort of fun stuff there. It's the other part there is they have the coven, or that blood coven. They sort of make an appearance, and they're kind of licking their wounds. And it's just odd to see how that they were so powerful, and now they're freaking just kind of relegated. If they have to fight this blood hunt team beats them up. Then what the heck was all this? What was this power that they had before on that they were able to take out the Avengers and overcome that impossible city?
Right.
I was an okay read. I was just more curious as to what's going on.
I like the team. I mean, I love Elsa Bloodstone, and I remember we were pretty happy with the Hallows Eve miniseries. Like we thought
Hallows Eve is a good character in here. Elsa Bloodstone, they're writing her pretty hot and heavy there. She just seems to be very bloodthirsty and not the team player. But I don't know if that rings too true to her. But I don't know so much of her history, so it's hard for me to say.
Right. So what'd you give this?
I give this a 3.5 though.
Okay. Next up, you got Spider-Man Black Suit and Blood.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I bought this or not. I don't think I did, because when I was looked at it, pardon me?
I said wrong one. I put up Spider-Man Rain there for a second. There we go.
Yeah, there's 3 stories in there. If you're gonna do these stupid stories, man, make them good at least. I think the first one was another one of these ones where Spider-Man had what do you call those guys? That kind of give up information there to him.
Informant?
Yeah, an informant, and he was just kind of talking with him, and then this informant goes bad and he turns on Spider-Man, and I don't know, the informant dies, but somehow he's narrating this from beyond the grave. And Spider-Man shows up at the bar he hangs out, and he gives some guys, a few bucks to help him get buried. But it just sort of portrays Spider-Man, oh, he's such a great guy still, even though this guy turned on him. And the second story, is with one with MJ. I was expecting a little bit more out of this story, but it's kind of her just dealing with that black suit that was roaming around in the house when kind of before Spider-Man got rid of it. I don't know, it could have been better. If you're gonna, we haven't had a MJ Peter Parker story together in this sort of timeline. It could at least made it a bit more a little more something to it. Mm-hmm. And I think the fourth story, I don't even remember what that was. I think this one looked a bit better, but still not much going on here. Oh no, he's fighting the whatever Venom in I don't know, in his mindscape or something like that. Backing up that stuff. I didn't like that story either.
Well, sounds like it was not that great.
None of the stories really spoke to me, and
I like the art on many of these stories, but yeah, maybe not enough to get you there.
Yeah, but I'm not just freaking the Venom ghost program floating around.
What'd you give this then?
I give us 3.25.
Okay. Next up, I got Public Domain number 7. I'm happy to say I like this issue more than the return back to this book after being away for a while. I thought that last issue was just okay. This one was a bit better, and it's getting really interesting now again. Like now we're kind of seeing them struggle with, now that the comic book company has been created. The first arc of this series was basically them trying to find the funding and means to actually, start this company up and actually come up with the idea to start this company by working with his family and everything else and getting the rights to his character back. That was the struggle of the first 5 issues. Now it seems like this next arc of this story is going to be more focused on them actually now running the company and the problems that's going to cause and things that are going to come up as a result. And in this issue, you see the guy that he split ways with, kind of, if you think of it like a Stan and Jack kind of situation where the creatives kind of that made so many things together have now ended up splitting up. The guy who basically stole the rights to the Domain character from this creator has been now trying to make a name for himself out on his own without the artist. And he's, meeting with writers here. Like I said, last issue he met with, they paired him with a writer that's kind of like a Neil Gaiman-esque type character, it seems like. And in this one, that he goes to his mansion to meet with him and talk things out, and he gets introduced to a artist, like some hotshot artist who's, it seems like based on like an artist from the 90s, like kind of like, that made a lot of money for himself during that period of time, and like draws like grim and gritty kind of 90s like style, kind of like superheroes. And he shows them like like he shows them a drawing of what he thinks that this character that they're doing should look like. And it clearly isn't working out, like this relationship between this guy and these other creatives in the industry, because they're from today's time and he's from like back in the 60s or whatever, 70s, whenever he had his success. So they're not really meeting eye to eye in that regard. And then the other guy, who is the artist, the father of the two with the two sons that are now involved in the company, one of them's inking his work and the other one is helping write, are working together now. And the guy who funds this operation, who is just a fan of this domain character that happens to have a lot of money, he shows up, and he really doesn't like the new direction that they're going in by trying to make 3 different versions of the domain, like having different domains. Obviously, with the way things are nowadays, in terms of trying to have it so there's some other representation, let's say like a woman domain and all this kind of thing. And you know what? I kind of appreciate Chip Zdarsky like doing it from this perspective, because it kind of does show how people from a different time, or that don't actually even agree with this kind of thing, like in terms of different representation, like this guy's like, yeah, but this isn't the domain character I grew up with. Why would I want these characters? Who cares about these other characters, right? So I really like how like it does show both sides, where he's like, yeah, but I don't know these people, so why do I care about them? And they're like, no, it's important to do and branch out and bring new readers in with doing new versions of this character. And they actually show both sides of that argument in that regard as well. And the guy who's the artist is just like, yeah, I don't agree with this either, but listen, you guys got to start listening to me more. This is my creation. As I brought this editor in, and he thanks her for her help, but he's like, but at the same time, like at the end of the day, I need to have some say in this operation. He kind of walks out frustrated from this meeting that they have, and he ends up going to the bar to have a drink. And little does he know that, of course, the other creator that he split ways with is also at that bar having a drink, because this was, I guess, a watering hole that they both used to frequent, that artists used to go to. And then they have a talk. And by the end of the argument, there are a lot of mean things. And they have a talk, and it all starts out nicely. And by the end of it, they're arguing in each other's faces. And the one guy storms out of the bar, and the issue kind of just ends there. So it kind of has some interesting things going on now within the conflicts of the characters in the story. It is very inside baseball still, in the sense that they are talking about, different creatives in the comic book kind of space, how you put a comic book together, all the different types of roles of people making a comic book. So really, that's the kind of stuff that I latch onto, even more so than the story that they're kind of telling here. And I really liked this issue, so I give this a 4 out of 5. It's good stuff. Next up, we got Birds of Prey number 12. I got this. I think it's the DNA was a David Nakayama cover here. Got this one here. And this was probably, I've been having a lot of fun with this series of them going to like different worlds and stuff like that, and walking into different scenarios throughout each one, while basically trying to figure this whole situation out that they're in as a team. But this one was, of course, they went to like a chibi universe, like the little kind of kid versions of the characters. They all turn into these type of characters when they go into this dimension. And as a result, the art style changes from the actual usual art style of this book, and you get all these kitty looking characters for the rest of the issue. So I wasn't really that big of a fan of that. I get that's a thing, and I get that every issue this arc has been a different kind of style, different artists coming in and doing stuff, and then like them having to basically figure out like how to get out of this kind of situation for themselves. So it works for the arc and what they're doing, but this was probably one of my least favorite ones, only because I'm not a big fan of this whole kind of style of animation and drawing, and like this whole little kid versions of everyone. So for me, it kind of was just annoying at times. That being said, I think the issue was still fine. It wasn't terrible. I just wasn't a huge fan of this particular one because of that. But But yeah, basically by the end of this, we have one more issue to go. It looks like they are going to find a way to out of this situation for themselves. They have their friends on Earth that didn't go into the dimension still helping out. But a new layer has introduced itself there at the end of this issue that it might make things a little bit more difficult. We'll see. But I give this a 3.5 out of 5. And then I got Chaos number 20. Always don't have too much to add on to this series. This is just coming back from the break. I have a couple of months there in between arcs. And this kind of drops us right back into the action. This was an action-packed issue with great art, as I always say, by Wes Craig. Because this is an ongoing creator-owned series, there isn't so much I can say whenever an issue comes out because it's kind of all 20 issues in. It's all a big, the storyline is a bigger part of like a big story going on, a small part of a big storyline going on from the start. So, but I will say, like I said, I it's not a lot of action as opposed to like talking moments, which I really liked. And at the end of the issue, the robot character that was the bad guy throughout the first couple of arcs of this story, he's been doing a bad job of actually getting Kea and her brother and tracking these people down. So they brought in another person to basically take over, and he kind of it doesn't look good for him, let's say, by the end of this. It's kind of like with Emperor Palpatine when he thought Vader, after the Death Star got blown up, he wanted to go bring in somebody else and kill him. And it's kind of a situation like that. The higher ups have called in some other help because they're like, he doesn't think they can get the job done. Also, this magical kind of like, I don't know, impish kind of character here, or wood nymph or something like that was in his dreams. The kid, Kia's brother, I always forget his name, in the first arc, Razel, has appeared now, and it looks like he's somehow not only just in his dreams, but he's actually a living being that's now helping them as well. So I gave this a 3.75 out of 5. I still really enjoy this series, and I always pick up the trades when they come out too, because I just think it's a great book. Doctor Strange 18, Chris, the last issue of Jed McKay's run here.
Yeah, I was curious to see what Doctor Strange is up to after he lost his mantle as Sorcerer Supreme, and this answered a lot of those questions. So I thought it was a great issue. The stuff with him is that Baron Mordo. I thought that was interesting there. It kind of takes away from all the fights they had before, because he had a lot to say about to Baron Mordo. He's like, I can, just because I'm not the Sorcerer Supreme doesn't mean I can't beat you. Now it just means I can't beat you safely. So it sounds like that he always had the upper hand when he was fighting. But all the other places he went to, I think, who's that guy he wanted to unleash on Doom? There's some guy he went that was building a garden or something.
So that was basically, it's like, it's from another story arc during Jed McKay's run. He's basically a guy who was like a war general, essentially, in another dimension that Doctor Strange actually, he got out of this situation, but this guy basically was at war for like hundreds of years in another dimension that was basically like another version of Doctor Strange, let's say. Like he had set him up to where he was finally found peace, as you learn in this issue, right? But he was just basically, he was a bad dude. Like Doctor Strange went to head with him in this series, and like it could have went another way for him, essentially. But that's who he is.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting there when you're going. I kind of came back and talked to Clea, and he's like, "Oh, I almost, I unleashed this dog of war on him or something." And I pulled back from that. And I think he doesn't even go to Latveria or something, and he finds that Doctor Doom is sort of hiding almost, or he's not really answering the call. So
yeah, he has a dome around Latveria that he goes up to, and he smashes his hands up trying to punch through because he's so frustrated by the fact that he's hiding out there. Yeah, that's what happens in that scene. Here,
and it's a lot of stuff with Clea. I'll stand by you, but isn't the thing that Baron Mordo is kind of like, as soon as you lose your power, the clock's ticking. She's leaving you, but we'll see where it goes. I'm glad it might be a good time to pause this story and pick up, once ever you see how everything plays out.
Yeah, it looks like I was wrong, at least for now, that this was gonna spin off into Jed McKay telling the stories of Doctor Doom as the Sorcerer Supreme, because I guess he is gonna be the villain of this next story. And I guess, I don't know, maybe that wouldn't work with this next event or whatever's happening. So my prediction, it looks like, is wrong, at least for now, on that front. But that being said, I thought this was a fitting end to this series. I think Jed McKay's time on this book for the last few years, ever since they decided to kill him off, as he talked about in the letters column of the back of this issue, I thought was really well done. I think the last few, I mean, probably like going on 8-9 years now, they've had a really good, since Doctor Strange was really starting in the cinematic universe, it's gone from one good writer to the next. Honestly, it went from Jason Aaron to Donny Cates to Mark Waid to Jed McKay writing Doctor Strange ongoing series. So I've been really happy with all of those series. And as a fan of this character, I got to say, I just hope that there is a future for him again in another series, because right now they haven't announced any new series for him. And, I just think we've had such a great string of series for this character, like I said, after the last few writers, that it really has become one of my favorite characters, not only just because of the older things I've read, but honestly, because of the ongoing series that have been coming out the last few years. So great stuff. I thought it was really fitting. It was nice to see him and Clea being still together at the end here, and her reassuring him that she isn't going anywhere. At least for this moment in time, the characters are happy. And yeah, like you said, that whole bit with him, like coming to, he had to deal with a lot of disappointment and loss here because of his actions in the end of the Bloodhunt. And he was also faced with the fact that, yeah, I could have unleashed that general dude on Dr. Doom to help me, but that would make me a bad person, because this man has found peace in his life. So yeah, it was really good. Like, it really kind of, I think, is a good character piece of Doctor Strange. It was a good final issue to kind of leave out on it. And I hope that's not the last we see of him, but it will.
No, I'm sure you'll have a key role in Doom's undoing sooner or later.
Yeah. So what'd you give this?
Give it a 3.75.
I'll give this a 4 out of 5. Yeah, I thought it, and honestly, I would say the same for this series. Like a good 4 out of 5. The whole Jed McKay run through Death of Doctor Strange to Strange, which was the Clea book of Doctor Strange, to this book, back to Doctor Strange, I thought was all really good. And I think Jed McKay said at the end of the issue, he wrote about 33 issues between all that stuff. So I'm hoping a nice big omnibus hardcover collection comes out of that, because I'll definitely be grabbing that. So good stuff. All right, Chris, Scarlet number 3.
Yeah, I read this one up. I think I got this in my pull list, and this is another great comic. I was unsure as how they're going to put Scarlet in the story here, and so far it's been kind of a story on her own, not really connected too much to the whole Energon universe. But I think at the end of this one, things are starting to fall in place too. But otherwise, the pacing of the story, like, it wasn't a very wordy issue, but it was just action packed, and wherever whatever the word bubbles were, they were all, they're all necessary. You didn't kind of have to waste time, trying to read, some inner monologue about, some existential crisis she's going through. She's going out there kicking ass and trying to complete her mission. And I thought it was great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this issue was a bit more action than character moments. Like, I think it's been a good balance the last couple of issues of that, but I have nothing against all the great action sequences in this comic either. So, and I think we've had a good mix throughout the first two. This one was mostly her just basically jumping from compound to compound, trying to basically to escape there at the end. It seems like on the roof of that one, the Sato 3 or whatever, right? They got all the different buildings there that she was basically making her way through here. But just as like a nice ninja mission type of comic, I'm in for that. I always enjoy that kind of stuff. So this was a lot of fun. Yeah. And I'm interested to see what happens moving forward. I mean, I know her whole goal was to help out Jinx too. After infiltrating this compound that she's done here. And like I said, I don't know about all these characters, and I don't know everything about G.I. Joe. I think this is a little bit more seeped in G.I. Joe history than I feel like some of the other series has been. But I'm interested to find out. I'm interested to learn more. And yeah, I like this issue. I've liked this series. It's been good. What'd you give this?
Yeah, I give this one a 4. I really enjoyed reading this one.
I'm gonna go 3.75 on this one. I thought this was I enjoyed this one for whatever reason a little less, I feel like, than the first 2 issues, but I still think it's a solid series. The Deviant number 7.
Oof. This book coming to its end there pretty soon. I always find it funny that when they always call this a Christmas story.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say about this book. It's crazy. Like, it's not crazy, but it's dark.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what's going on in there. Like, there's a lot of scenes with I guess now it's his friend that's trying to figure things out. And this cop, or I guess going to a place where someone makes those masks. That was all sort of interesting stuff. And then that kind of comes to a head. I don't know why the serial killer be going after her. And when he's with that guy that's talking to the guy that's in jail, I'm not sure if he's trying to say that he didn't do all these murders and they just got pinned on him because he's different. I don't know.
Right. There's a bit of that. I feel like there's a bit of that going on. Definitely. And because the guy that came to talk to him here is the boyfriend of the accused guy, the writer, right?
Maybe that guy isn't killing everybody.
Right.
Or, there's something going on here that's happening, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and even, just like those panels there, we don't see him, like he's about to walk away. And then, where you can kind of just see him thinking in those panels. I thought that was, just some great use of paneling and art. So it's hard to say it's a good read, but it still definitely holds your attention. And, it's still one of the books I look forward to when it does come out.
Absolutely. It's really well done. And to piggyback on what you said there, I think that it's first off, Joshua Hickson, the artist, has been doing a great job on this book. And yeah, like you said, like just like even the silent moments in these panels that we see here were all really well done. Just really, really good storytelling. I thought, like, here, just to kind of read the emotion on the character's face and what he's contemplating and going through in these scenes. And secondly, what you also said there about how, like, I think the best thing I can give this book a compliment about is, like you said, how interesting it is. And the whole time, I'm not really focused on who the killer is at this point in time. Like, that's how interesting of a story it is. Like, of course, I want to know. And I hope we find out by the end of this, because we have 2 more issues to go. It's only a 9-issue series, this one. But it's such an interesting story that he's telling here that I think it's just the icing on top in terms of, like, us possibly going to learn who this killer is. Obviously, there's a lot more being said about things in this story as well, but as it stands, it's just a very dark and scary kind of story being told too, right? At the end of the day, you do have an axe wielding maniac at the end of this issue that looks like he's going to kill the woman who, like, sells these masks, these replicas, right? That's which is a thing that is part of real life culture as well. There is people that are obsessed with serial killers that would sell merchandise and stuff like that. So, like, that kind of tracks too, even in that sense, right? So but if you had a theory, though, who do you think the killer is? Is it the writer? Because we haven't seen him, I feel like, for the last.
I haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
Like, the way they point everything at him, it almost has to say it's not going to be him, but who it could be, like, I just hope it's not a ghost at the end or something,
Yeah, my other fear too is that we're gonna get to the 9th issue and he's gonna be like, "There's another miniseries coming," right? Like, and then I'm like, "What the hell?" But listen, if it's well done, I won't be that upset. But at the same time, it's just like, I just don't know why anything can't just be, this is it, like, these days, right? Like, this is the story, instead of like, oh yeah, then I'm gonna spit it out into something else. So
if this does well, if this didn't do so well, I'll just end it here and give you the real ending. Oh, but it's doing well. Don't worry, I got a plan B to stretch this out into another series.
Right. And I don't think he's beyond that, because James Tynion literally just did that with Nice House on the Lake. There's a new one coming out now called, like, Nice House on the Beach or something.
Yeah, Nice House by the Sea or something like
by the sea. Yeah. So Nice House on the Beach. Yeah. But like, that was a successful series. It was a 12-issue series. It was advertised as such. Now,
Yeah.
maybe he always intended it for it to be more, but if you do that, at least tell people up front. Don't say, you know what I mean? But then I feel like they would lose out on potential sales of the issues, right? So I get why they do it, but it's just bullshit because that was a really highly acclaimed series. And if you can't tell a good story within 12 issues, then what are you doing, right? Like, I just don't know. Anyways, what'd you give this?
I guess it's a 4.
I give it a 4, maybe even 4.25. This is a good issue. So yeah, it's around there though. Yeah, probably 4 out of 5. Gotham City Sirens #1. I got this this variant cover here. All right, what'd you think of this?
Yeah, I didn't buy it. I didn't put this on my pull list. There's another weekly, I think a weekly series that's coming out. And I think I'm regretting it. This book is just right up my alley. I think right on the first page, I go, oh man. Like this is what I was expecting when, I was reading that Punchline Gotham War or something like this. The story's kind of kooky.
Yeah.
But, even like before I got to the end, I was into this already, like just the characters they're using here, they're done very well. I don't want to say perfectly, but they're leaning into the stories that I kind of enjoy, let's say. And then just the way it ends with Punchline as a bikini model or a bikini streamer or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I missed out.
Yeah, so I was hoping that by picking this weekly event up, I didn't get burned, and I was really concerned about it. And Leah Williams is the one that wrote this. And now Leah Williams is also the one that wrote the Exterminators series. So then when I read the blurb,
that makes sense.
right? So when I read the blurb about this, it sounded like something like similar in tone, and I'm just like, man, I hope it is because I really liked that series.
Yeah, I hope so too. Maybe if I looked into that more, I might have thought more picking this up.
Right. So after I read that, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a flyer on it. Let's try it out. And yeah, I'm with you. I may have liked this issue a little less than you did, only because, like you said, I don't know exactly what's going on yet, but there's a lot of crazy things happening in this issue. And I feel like since it is a weekly event, she's able to get away with that, where you're not wondering for a month what's going to happen. I think she's taken advantage of that fact. And you read this issue, you're like, okay, there's some interesting things happening. I don't know everything that's going on, but guess what? It's coming back out next week. So like, you're gonna find out in a moment probably. And there was a lot of fun things happening. The art was good and it was fun storytelling. So yeah, I'm in. I mean, I've already pre-ordered them all. I'm in. And I've also pre-ordered all of them with this artist variant covers, which are all very nice. Right. So I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, but like you said, great page to end on. Punchline in the live streaming bikini thing.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't give it to you right away. So you see somebody talking about it beforehand, and I think she's out there scamming people. You don't even think it's going to be her, and then boom, then they have that big reveal there. It's like, oh, perfect.
What'd you give this, Chris?
Like I said, it's not the greatest story though, but I'll give it a 3.75.
Yeah, because of that, I'm gonna go 3.5. But I definitely enjoyed it though. It just I needed a bit more, I feel like, but we're gonna get that next week. So I mean, by the end of August, I might be like, yeah, that was a hell of a lot of fun, this mini series. It does feel
weekly series got me freaking put off on all these things.
That I will say it does have the same tone so far as Exterminators, which I loved. So so I hope it follows that thing throughout the whole way. Next up, finally, our last book of the day here, we got Spider-Man Reign 2, #2. What'd you think of this, Chris?
I think the art in this is great. The story is nothing like what I expected. No, I did read the Reign 1, or the Spider-Man Reign in the beginning, and that was, kind of crazy dystopian future story. And this one here, I saw that old man Spider-Man, and he was kind of wacky in the last issue, and they ended up, getting sent back in time somehow. And then here he is just unhinged here. He realizes he's in the past, and he realizes that he could see Mary Jane again, and that he can save her or try and save her. And he's just like, he doesn't know or I don't know if he knew what his mission was to go back there. I don't think he does, but he's there with the Black Cat daughter or something. I don't even know where those trolls came from that are with him, but he doesn't care what the plan is. He's like, I think he tries to go to his apartment. I don't know. I thought that was Peter Parker in his apartment, but it seems like it was just some rando in there. And that guy gets offed in the battle somehow. And then and then you find out sort of what happened to Peter Parker in this whatever world they're at. It sounds like he's not around anymore. And then you think he's piecing things together, or you're trying to piece things together as to what's happening, and then Venom shows up, and they okay, fuck, here we go. We got a crazy Venom and Spider-Man battle, and then the Venom suit peels away, and it's freaking Mary Jane in there. It's like what?
And don't forget Robbie gets shot in this issue. He goes to
Oh
see
yeah, J. Jonah Jameson shoots him.
yeah.
Oh yeah, just crazy stuff going on. Like they're not holding back in anything in here.
No, this, like you said, Kari Andrews, very interesting style, really great artist. Has grown as a writer because he's written a bunch of more things since the last time that the original Spider-Man Reign came out. And I got to tell you, I actually read Spider-Man Reign prior to this coming back out. I hadn't read it for years. I actually don't like Spider-Man Reign all too much. It's fine. I mean, it's an interesting concept, but I felt like the writing of it wasn't all that great. And I think he's improved not only as an artist, but as a writer in that time. And like you said, like this is batshit crazy, this story. Like, but like, it
Oh
looks,
yeah, didn't even talk about the stuff where him going to see Aunt May.
yeah, but like the way he's zooming around this issue, it's like he's on speed or like it's an acid trip or something. Like the craziness of all the visuals in this book combined with the storytelling, and so breakneck fast the stuff that's happening, and also like the fact that the visual of him with this crazy long beard is awesome.
Yeah, he's like wearing around his trench coat, his underwear, and the mask. Like, how can you take that to the whoever your higher ups go? Yeah, this is the story. This is the Spider-Man I want.
But
He's old. He's got a trench coat on, and he runs around in his underwear, and he's freaking crazy.
right, but it works. It's awesome.
I love it.
Same. I agree with you. I mean, this is even more fun too because you got the element of time travel involved in this one.
Yeah.
And like you said, you got a jacked up Miles Morales running around chasing him. You got goblins, which are like a representation of the Green Goblin. You got a cat, like a black cat who's like a small mini person, like a little.
Yeah, I don't know what her story is. She like 10 years old or something? Because they don't draw her like a 10-year-old kid.
I don't
But her face is like some anime character.
It's one of those books that sometimes
makes you uneasy.
yeah, I feel like what the hell is this? But I'm having so much fun with it, and the art is great on top of all that. So like it's a wild ride. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, it's fun stuff. What'd you give this?
I'm giving this a 4.5. That's a good one.
Wow, I might go 4.25, verging on 4.5 for this one. But yeah, I'm right there with you, Chris. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, 4.5 for the art.
Yeah, there's that piece of Mary Jane at the end and see what's going to happen there. Oh, come on.
Some crazy stuff happened this issue for sure. All right, that's going to do it for the books we wanted to talk about this week, guys. Make sure to always check back with us, for next week's list as well. We're going to be talking about that right now. Chris, what are you looking forward to reading next week?
I'm just going to try and bring this up here. Let's see. I guess we're pretty early this week. Not so used to that. Oh, shit. Hold on.
No worries. I got mine pulled up here. I can
Yeah,
go
pull yours up.
so the things I'm picking up physically, I got Amazing Spider-Man 55, Batman Gotham by Gaslight, Kryptonian Age. I think I've pre-ordered this, number 3. Batman Off-World 5, that got pushed to the next week because I know a couple weeks ago you had mentioned that, but that looks like it's finally coming out. DC versus Vampires World War V, number 1. I'm very much looking forward to that. Falling in Love on the Path to Hell, number 3. Gotham City Sirens, number 2. Transformers 11, Ultimates, number 3. X Factor, number 1, as well as X-Men, number 2. Continuing these J. Scott Campbell covers. You got Magic on that one. And then there's going to be some things I probably read digitally as well, which I won't get into right now, but stay tuned. Check back with us next week and see what we talk about here. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, I think I got Amazing Spider-Man 55, Ultimates 3, Venom 36, X-Men 2. I'll probably read this X Factor 1. We have the Sensational She-Hulk 10, but I thought that was over. But I'm not sure if I ordered that one or not. I got the Venom War Spider-Man number 1. I think that's it for Marvel. And let's see what we got going with DC. I think I'm still with Action. Probably read the Task Force, 8. think I got the Gotham by Gaslight 2, or whatever, the Kryptonian Age. I'll definitely read the Gotham City Sirens 2, the World War, the DC versus Vampires. It was a nice preview in some of the comics this
Yeah.
week, but kind of got me hyped for that a little bit. So
Yeah.
that hype worked, where sometimes you see those previews like, oh God, what did I buy into?
Yeah.
And let's see what we got out of Image. The Transformers 11. And I'll probably try to read Geiger 5.
Oh, that comes out. I'm reading that too for sure. Yep.
I got it here. I'm not sure if it's what's going on or not, but
yeah.
Okay.
All right. That's going to be what we're going to read next week, guys. We're looking forward to checking out our favorite book of the week. Chris, what's your favorite book here?
Well, there's a few in the running, but there's a few, I guess, second place runnings there. Like Venom War was good. Scarlet was good. Absolute Power. They all could have been, those would be hard to choose a second one, but my number one had to be Spider-Man Reign 2.
Yeah. As is mine. Yeah, I'm with you. It's been a few weeks, I feel like, since we had the same pick. It felt like a while now, but yeah, this week there was no doubt. But I will say, the runner-up, Venom War. What the hell? Like, just two very unlikely books for me, honestly.
It's Venom War and the stupid Venom comic. Jesus Christ. Like that singularity or whatever, the eventuality of that hand. I had to spend like 3 issues reading about that. And it's just a hand sitting there. And how he got there, it's just crazy business. How they ended up to where they are. But I'm glad they are there now. And
exactly.
I might be back in on Venom if things are crazy.
Yeah, it was great. Venom War was a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely check that out, guys, if you were interested in checking out Venom. It was a lot of fun, the first issue. Hopefully it stays that way because, but like this, I think both these books were just like insane, like the things that were going on in them. But I'm going to give the edge to this one because, again, it is Spider-Man and there's some really fun things happening in this title.
Yeah, and all the things we talked about, I think we didn't even get into half of them there too, like that stuff with Aunt May and just everything going on.
Right. Yeah, crazy. Absolutely. No wasted moment in this one. All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week, guys. We will see you back here next week. As always, make sure to like and subscribe and check out our other shows here on the Late Night Chat Network, as well as the playlist of Comic Shop Talk and other comic related shows that we have put out over the years. So definitely check those out, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you to Chris as always, and later, everyone.
All right. Cheers.
Later.